Praise the Lord. Dear LRCM workers and brethren, we're here again with another snippet or nuggets for our learning. The last time we talked about, can you remember? Commitment in service and also ministry is daily, right? And we said some powerful things, and I'm sure we agree. A lot of us quickly look at obedience. What is obedience? A big language definition would be obedience is the compliance with an order, request, or law, or submission to under authority. That's like it. That's really what it is, and that's true. Obedience is, compliance, submission to a request, to an instruction, to a direction. One of the greatest tests for the pastors, workers, leaders relationship is obedience to instruction. Truth be told, that the obedience, the absence of obedience destroys every other principle as it pertains to working in the church. You can be skillful as a worker in the house of God. Be skillful, very skillful. You know how to do the things very well. But if you are disobedient, you become a major bone in the chain of the ministry progress. You become a challenge, because here you have a skillful person, but doesn't follow instruction. Right? So it's a very critical thing. And sometimes many of us who don't know that we're disobedient. We don't even know. Your disobedience or obedience is not something that is defined by you. It is defined by the person that gave the instruction. I say that again. Your obedience and disobedience is not defined by you. It is defined by the person that gave the instruction. For example, go to a Gondo using a keke, and you decide to go to a Gondo using a bike. Now, you say that, but I got to a Gondo. But that was not the instruction. The instruction was get to a Gondo using the keke. You will say, but I got to Gondo now, last. But the person said, get to Gondo using this way. And when you're dealing with the things of God, instructions are very strategic. That more we have come to understand that there's a way God does things. And when God is raising people, there's a way he's going to put you through process. Sometimes you begin to see this thing play out in your leaders and your pastors with the way they tell you to go about doing the things. And you're like, why don't we just do it this way? And they're saying, no, let's do it this way. And you're wondering why. Your mind, be it Gen Z or be it an elderly person from that ministry, whatever, your mind is like, why are we not doing it this way? But you don't know why we're not supposed to do it this way. And so sometimes you might end up doing it your own way. And that's not being obedient. You might think you are being, but you're not being obedient. So why do church workers disobey their pastors? Let's start from there. Number one, lack of revelation. We go back to this vision thing. This revelation and vision thing, understanding what the ministry is set to do, understanding what the ministry is designed to do, understanding the assignment. If you don't understand the assignment, you're going to have a hard time obeying instructions, obeying things that are instructed for us to do or not to do. You're going to find it difficult. If you don't also understand where the role you are playing in the ministry, your own individual assignment and the work, you're going to have problems. So it is important for you to understand the revelation of the assignment and what the duty or what the plan God has for that ministry or that work. Okay, so you need to also understand what it means to be a worker, and this is why we have workers training. Some people will say, what's the end of this training? If you don't understand what it means to be, for example, a choir, and we like using choir, if you don't know what it means to be a sound engineer and what a sound engineer means in totality to the work, to the assignment, to everything, if you don't understand what that means, you will go about doing things the way you like. If you don't understand that this sound goes a long way in projecting and communicating the clarity of what the man of God is saying or what the ministers are singing, you will go about carrying out your duty in a disobedient way that will deviate from what we are trying to achieve. All right, that's one. Number two is your past trauma, your past experience. In the past few years working with people, I've come to realize that many people come to a place with past experience. Some of us have worked in other places, other ministries. When I mean experience, I mean both in the knowledge that has been taught to you and also the negative experience you've experienced dealing with people, right? I've noticed that people come with that backlog of experience, the bad experience they had where they were before. They bring it here and they paint even the new pastor, the new leader the same. It's not the pastors I know, it's not the leaders I know, it's not the people I know. They're all the same thing. There's no difference. People come into a new place with bad and negative experience. This is wrong. Absolutely wrong. When you come into a new place, when you come into a system, you need to come with a fresh mind and open mind to learn. Even if you see, just out of 10, you see one trait that looks like what you're coming from, does not mean that you should judge this new person or this new place exactly the same way. If you don't move on from the past, your new experience is going to be challenging. And so you find yourself being disobedient to instructions because you're thinking it's the same person, it's the same mindset, it's the same people, it's the same ideology, because you have not moved on, you've not allowed yourself heal from where you are coming from. All right. I've had that kind of experience recently, talking to somebody. And that's why most time we try to get to know each other first before we push people to the workforce, because we try to look at you and understand what you're going through, where you're coming from. The person was telling me the stories about what they've been through in pastors' hands and all that and all that. That gave me a different understanding, orientation of how to push this person. And so I had to take it very, very slowly with this person, because I realized now this person is coming from a very negative and polluted space, right? The person's orientation of pastors and leaders is not good, you know. So it made me understand how to work with this person, how to give this person space, let them come at their own time. Because if you push it too much, they might begin to have a relapse of those things they've experienced. So one of the things you need to do is to make sure, first of all, you let yourself heal from where you're coming from. All the negative things or the negative experiences you've had, don't bring that into the new workspace. Number 3, reason why one can be disobedient. It's the spirit of independency. And I'll explain. When you have the mindset of doing things on your own, you are gradually and eventually you will become a disobedient person. I'm telling this from experience. This from experience. Because the culture, this can be from culture, can be from society pressure, from friends pressure, and what people are saying. It can also be from culture, like I said. I, for example, have a culture like that. I grew up independently, doing things by myself for a long time in my life. So I found myself doing things on my own, not wanting to work with the team, not wanting to depend on the team, but depend on what I can do, right? Eventually, that will lead to disobedience, because there's something we must understand. Jesus said something, I think in the book of John, if I'm not mistaken. I am the vine, you are the branch. When he says you are the branch, he's referring to every one of us, the church. Everybody is in that branch. There is nobody that is super branch. There's no church that is super branch, mighty branch. Well, you can put it that way. But we are all branch. So it means that we have been sentenced to a life of teamwork, a life of doing it together. So the spirit of independency on your own cannot work. It can't work in that system. It can't last in that system. It can't function in that system. It will get to a point, that spirit will begin to lead you to disobedience. It begins to lead you to things that will be classified as disobedience. It can become now the reason of your being disobedient. Independence. All right? Another reason again is your human logic. You want to make everything, every word of God, every instruction, it has to make sense in a human way. If you go with this system, you're going to be disobedient in a lot of spiritual instructions. You're going to be disobeying a lot of spiritual instructions because you want everything to make sense from a human perspective. Oh, the river is bitter. The water from the river is bitter. And you are told to go and pour just one small salt like this into it. And you're like, how does that make sense, Pastor? How does that make sense? Oh, let me share something with you. I remember when we were looking for a new location, when we were leaving Busari, right? And about one day, Pastor just said, Pastor Jonah, let's move. Let's go and look for a place. It didn't make sense. Right? We were like, we are even going to. Let's go and try this side. Let's go. Remember, we went to somebody's place. From there, we saw something we didn't like that place. Then we said, okay, let's just keep going. Then we said, where's on that agent that is here? Let's find. That day, we found the new place that we are in. That was how we got that day. That day, we made a move. But the move did not make sense on a human scale. It didn't make sense, but we made the move and we got the place. So not all instructions will make sense. Remember, we walk by faith, not by sight, as a believer. So not all instructions will make sense. And ultimately, one of the reasons why you will disobey is you don't have the fear of God. We taught this in our Bible study class. If you don't have the fear of God in you, you will be a disobedient person. If you don't have the fear of God in you, you will be disobedient. Both your leaders, both your parents, both your pastor, you will be disobedient, all right? So you must have the fear of God instilled in you, and that is the reverence, the honor, the love for God, the respect for God If you have that in you, you will obey his word. And if you obey his word, you will obey his servants. All right. Those are the ways people can be disobedient. But let's now look at how to be an obedient church worker. How to be an obedient church worker. Number one is to have the yes culture. The what? The yes culture. This culture is quite scary, but it's effective. It is the culture that teaches you to say yes as your first response to instruction. Yes, you have your question marks. Yes, you have an idea that is contrary to that. But first of all, say, yes, I've heard you. Okay, no problem. Don't be too quick to first say no. Don't be a no person. Have that yes culture that in out of 10 times, you are saying yes at least 8 or 9 times. Yes. It might look impossible, but yes first. It encourages, it promotes, that trust and that belief that this person is reliant, this person, has a I can get the job done mindset. We can get the job done mindset. We might not have all the resources, but we get the job done. We get the job done eventually. Second way that you can be an obedient worker is to ask for clarity when instructions are passed. When instructions are passed, it's important you ask for clarity when necessary. As you are saying yes, take a step back again and look at what needs to be done or what was told to you. If there's something you felt like you didn't hear properly, yes, sir. Just to confirm again, you are saying that we should do this, right? Don't just assume this is what they said. No. Let me give an example. A pastor says, bring the guests, the hotel, we give them their keys in my office. And a person, a worker ahead, bring the guests to the hotel and get their keys from my office. It sounds the same, but it's not the same. Bring the guests. The hotel will give them their keys in my office. Bring the guests to the hotel and get their keys in my office. It's not the same, but they sound the same. They sound the same. And you actually, what you heard or what you feel you heard sounds more reasonable. Bring the guests to the hotel and get their keys from my office. That sounds more clear. That's really the right thing. But that was not what was passed. Right? And you can say, okay, pastor made a mistake. Let me just continue. There are cases where the pastor actually makes a mistake or the leader makes a mistake. But you should not assume. I remember one time I was working, this is not in church now, and my boss then told me something. He told me an instruction, and I went on to do something else. When he came and asked me, why did you do this? I said, I assumed that this is what you said. He said, Jonah, assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. That thing hit me. He said, assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. Don't assume things. Don't assume things. Always ask questions. If you're not sure, ask questions. Make sure you ask for clarity on something. It will enable you be able to obey and do the thing. Because you might hear something and it will sound off, right? That wasn't what was said. But because what you heard sounded very off, you'll be like, how can pastor tell me to do this? But you didn't hear what he said very well. And because of that, you will not do it. And you say, pastor, this thing I heard you say was wrong, so I didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't tell you that. You say, but that's what I heard. But you didn't ask me. You didn't ask me to confirm whether that was what you heard or not. So ask for clarity. Ask for clarity. All right. Last thing I'll be sharing that will help you to be an obedient worker is be a teachable person. I can't stress how important this thing is. I can't stress it. It is so critical that as a Christian, as even a human being, you are teachable. See, you can't follow instructions if you don't understand. And you can't understand if you are not teachable. Simple. You can't follow instructions if you don't understand. You can't understand if you are not teachable. They are linked. Be a teachable person. It's so important in today's world where everything is evolving, everything is changing. There's somebody that recently was brought to work close to me. One of the things that I found out about this person was that he was teachable. Highly teachable. He's not a dullard, he's not dumb, but he knows that he came into a new environment, and so his first work is to learn. And so he was quick to listen, kept asking questions, and eventually I went on a short break, left everything to this guy's care. And believe you me, he did it excellently well. When I came back, people were singing about his review. They were singing his praise. They were saying, bro, this guy did well. This guy did excellently well. This guy, in your absence, this guy. Guess what? Somebody else came, said this guy did well, though. And that shows that you taught him well. See, if you are teachable, you will have understanding and you will be able to follow all the instructions given to you to the letter. You'll be able to execute the instruction on the task given to you excellently well if you are teachable. If you're not teachable, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle, a mighty struggle. Because your pastor or your leader will be speaking at one frequency and you'll be speaking at another frequency. Instead of it to be going like this, it will be going like this. He said to be going like this. It will be going like this. Instead of the discussion to be going smooth, one person is going like this, one person is going like this. You're not the same frequency. So when it's passing the instructions, you're not the same wavelength. This thing I'm talking about applies both spiritually, not only in education, spiritually. You need to be on the same wavelength with your pastors, with your leaders, spiritually. So if you are on a different level of faith and understanding, this is why I'm saying come to pay attention to the word of God. You get it? If your man of God is operating on a dominion level of the spiritual or spirituality and is speaking of great things, oh, we are about to take over Igondo, we're opening 10 branches. If your mindset, your spiritual and understanding is low, you'll be like, how won't they do them? They won't start from. Who will go there? Who will walk the walk there? And so the day he tells you, let's go for evangelism, let's go for crusade, we're going to open any branch, you'll be like, this man is just deceiving himself. Before you know, you'll be like tired, you'll be discouraged to even go. You'll make an excuse not to go for the meeting because you don't believe. We're not on the same spiritual level. And so you'll be discouraged. And before you know, you are disobedient. These are realities. These are realities. These are realities. So when you see, this last part is so important. If you're not on the same wavelength, it's a problem. When they're saying come for leadership meeting, come for social meeting, you will not find the reason why to come. Because you don't understand what we're pursuing. You don't understand what the goal we're chasing. We're not thinking the same way. We're not thinking the same way. And that's because you don't understand. And that's why because you're not listening or you're not being teachable. So you don't understand this vision we're trying to push. When we are saying, oh, there are souls that we need to reach, oh, there are places, you are not getting it because you don't understand it. And so eventually you'll be disobedient. You will disobey the instruction. You will not come for the meeting. You will not stay behind for the meeting, and so on and so forth because you don't understand it. So this is just some few things. There are many more. Just wanted to mention some few, and I hope it helps us. It really helps us, to understand and begin to live that lifestyle of obedience to instruction in the house of God, in our place of work, in family, and so on. All right. God bless us. Till next time.